everyone, it's Melanie from melaniestamps.com. Today I'm going to do my first Stampin' Blends video to show you my coloring. I'm going to be using the Petal Palette Stamp Set, and this is a two-part, a 1 of 2 and a 2 of 2 stamp set, so you get both of these for the one price. And this is just beautiful to be able to color. So we're going to use this large image here in our Stampin' Blends. We're also going to, in the finished card, I actually use the thinlits as well. I end up cutting out our image with this thinlit. So, but look at the beautiful foliage and flowers. This is a really great bundle. So whenever you're using the blends, you want to make sure you use Memento Black, Tuxedo Black ink. This way your alcohol markers do not bleed. Make sure you guys are going to be able to see that. There you go. And this is a kind of a watercolory look. This is the actual completed card. You can see the colored image there. So the first thing I did is I started out with the light color. Now these pens have two tips. This is the wide spectrum, and then you've got a pointed nib. So you've got a brush and you've got a point. And I actually use both of them. For filling it in to start with, move this here a little bit so you can see a little bit better. I'll go ahead and use the lightest color. This is Old Olive. And pretty much fill in all of your leaves. I kind of leave a little white on the edges, the tips. And sometimes they end up staying there and sometimes they don't. I'll show you more with the flowers, because I tend to leave a little bit of the white more with the flowers than I do with the leaves. But right now you're just getting the paper moistened with the alcohol ink. Then I go to the dark, because the, I'll go ahead and use a thin one. Stampin' Up Blends has a light and a dark of each color. And so this Old Olive is this, so we're using both of them, the dark and the light. And this here, I'm just kind of adding in where some shadows would be. This is the bullet nib, so I can kind of get in there and add some darker little areas. Then I go back with the lighter one, still with the brush, and I'm just going to go over those. I'm still not going to go all the way to the edge, because I want those tips to still be that lighter green from the first layer. So you're getting your darkers in here, and you're coming out, and it's lighter out on the edges, which is what I like. And if some of them fill in all the way, that's okay too. And there's no really right or wrong with coloring. This is just how I color. And I've been a Copic colorist for years. You can actually see my Copic coloring at fairystampland.com. But now that Stampin' Up has the blends, I'm going to be doing more of this. So here, I'm going to, here again, I'm trying to leave that white tips, and I'm just putting in the darker shadows. This is actually the lighter pen, but it's kind of like I'm mapping out where that darker shadow is going to end up. You can always go darker. Of course, you can't go lighter. So, but you see, I've left all those little highlights. It's where the sun would be hitting the tips of the flowers. Okay, now with the darker one and the smaller tip, I'm just going to go in there along those, almost along the lines of the stamp, but on the portion of where I put that light color. And you can start to see the shadow already forming. And then we're just going to blend it out just a little bit, and it'll be beautiful. This week I will have this sample, this card on my blog, so you'll be able to see, close-up of the finished product. It's actually being done for a swap that I'm doing with a group of demonstrators. It's the first time I've joined them, so I'm kind of excited, and I've decided I was going to do coloring because that's what I love the most. So hopefully they'll all enjoy their swaps. I'm making 20 of these. Well, actually 22, because I keep one, and then the swap organizer keeps one too. So here I'm just kind of smudging where the dark marker was, just so there's no harsh line. But I'm still trying to keep a little bit of that white. It's okay if you fill some of it in, but you don't want to see those dark lines. You want it to kind of be smudged, just so it doesn't look like you just went in there and drew the darker marker. You're just smudging it a little bit. That's the beauty of the markers, is they help each other blend. And alcohol markers are also permanent. So when you look, if you get the Stampin' Up white ribbons, or if you get our pearls or rhinestones, you can get those and you can actually color them with these markers, and it dries almost instantly, and it's permanent, so it's not going to go off anywhere. So that's one of the things that are wonderful about the alcohol markers. Now that was coral, Calypso Coral, by the way. This is Rich Raspberry, I believe. Double check. Yep. This is light Rich Raspberry. Here again, I'm going to shadow in with a lighter marker where I'm going to want those shadows. And the tips of a flower, or where it bends, is where the sun's going to hit. So that's how I'm coming up with where I'm placing it, is that's what I'm thinking of, is where the sun is actually going to hit the flower. So then I'm going to take the smaller tip of the dark Rich Raspberry. I'm just going to go in here like I did before and just draw. It's pretty much just a line. I mean, you can flick just like with the brush. I actually did the first half of them with just using the brush end. You can do it either way. This just gives you a little bit more control of exactly where you're putting it. And then I use the brush to smudge or to blend it outwards. And some of them are going to fill in, and some of them you can still keep a little white, just depending on the amount of space you have. So leaving white space is like one of the hardest things you can do when you're coloring, or at least for me it is. I want to just color it all in. But when you do leave that little bit of white, it's amazing how it really looks more realistic. So there we go. What you think? Oh, look right there. See that little spot right there went out of lines? You can take your color lifter, and all you have to do is pretend you're pushing the color back into the lines. And look at that. See that? Just disappears. So there's no messing up with these markers either, which is amazing. So let's see. So I will run this through the Big Shot using the coordinating dies. Is that not awesome? Oops. I'll run it through like that, and this will be my completed project. So thank you for stopping by, and if you want to see more coloring videos, anything specific, just give me a ring. You can find me at melaniestamps.com. Have a great day.